What I was talking about is that people come to satsang for experiences of, peace, bliss, transcendence of their problems and their suffering, which feels wonderful to have that happen. But afterwards, a few days later or the next day or right after it, the suffering can come up again. So this is a common thing, to feel this freedom from suffering and then suffering, freedom from suffering and then suffering. And so I have a lot of questions from people about what to do about the suffering that comes up. And this is what you do. This is what I call true healing. It's the only healing that I've ever seen that actually works. And it works on a very, very deep level, healing the experiences of suffering, but also pointing towards truth so that suffering doesn't arise again when we do this. And in this way, we actually use the suffering to discover truth. It's a very radical approach because it's the opposite of everything that we do. If we have some suffering, a feeling of pain in the heart or grief or fear, anxiety, whatever it is, there's many things that we do to relieve this, right? We just want it to go away. So we could call up a friend and talk about it, and that might distract us. Or they may say, oh, it's okay, it's no problem, we all have this. And then eventually we don't feel it quite as much, or we're sharing it with somebody else, so it's not quite as intense. Or we go to a doctor, and get a pill that might relieve this for a while, or we have a drink, or we do something else to distract us. Even walking in nature, it's beautiful, but sometimes we use this to distract us from this experience that we're having, this pain, this suffering that we're having. All our ways are avoiding. We go to a therapist and talk about it, right? And we sort of talk it out. So the idea is to escape it. Even talking it out is a way of escaping it. Everything we do is a way of escaping it, because that's all we want to do. We want to escape it. But whatever we're experiencing in the moment, this is truth. In this moment, we are experiencing this painful, uncomfortable feeling. This is happening in this moment. So avoiding this is not healing it. No matter how we avoid it, it's not healing it. To heal it, we have to understand what it is. And we understand this, we have to understand it completely on a very deep level, which means we have to experience it. I've talked about this practice of true healing a lot, but it needs to be experienced. So today we're going to experience it. We're going to do a practice. We're going to practice it. We're going to do what it is. And when we experience this, we know how to do it on our own. So if we have this great feeling of peace and bliss and satsang, and then afterwards some suffering arises, we use this as an opportunity for truth, another practice of meditation, another practice of satsang. Because this suffering that we're experiencing is actually a gift to us. It's pointing us towards a much deeper truth. And we've been avoiding it. We've been conditioned and trained to avoid this. It's like if a messenger comes to your house and he wants to tell you that you've just won the lottery, and you shut the door in his face, or you sick the dog on him, or you cover your ears and say, I'm not listening. It's not helpful. We want to be able to receive this gift. And this gift comes with pain. It does. It's a very uncomfortable feeling. It's a very uncomfortable feeling, suffering. But it's supposed to be, because nothing gets our attention better than pain, right? Pain just gets our attention better than anything else. It's the way we are. So that's why it comes in that kind of a package, because it needs to get our attention. And we've been spending all our time trying to get away from it, which, if you haven't noticed by now, doesn't work. Does it? It doesn't work. It just stays there because it wants to give to you. Life wants to serve you, wants to be of the highest benefit to you, and it won't give up. So in this practice, we're going to accept it. We're going to open to it and see what it reveals to us. I can tell you a lot of the things about what it reveals, but that's not going to help you as much as you experiencing it directly. You need to know what it's revealing, and you only know this by experiencing it directly. So that's this experience of true healing. It's radically different than everything else that we've ever done. The opposite of everything we've ever done. But it can be done. And once you do it, once you experience what happens, you'll realize that this is wonderful. This is a wonderful way of healing. This is the way to true healing. And you do get a reward from it. You're not just drowning in suffering. When it works, when you go through and you do it, you open up into this great peace and bliss and love that you experience in satsang. So you experience the same thing that you do in satsang by going through this doorway that's given to you. And at the same time, if this arises again, you understand what it is. And eventually it stops because it's a message. Once the message has been received, there's no reason to get it anymore. So you don't. And that's the end of suffering, the awakening to what you truly are. But suffering can help you do this. So we shouldn't avoid it. We definitely should not avoid it. That's just going to repress it, and it's just going to keep coming back, and we're going to keep missing the message that's so important. Okay, so to begin with, we're just going to be aware of the body. We're going to do a body scan. You may have done this before. This is a very common meditation practice, is a body scan. So, get comfortable. And we're going to pay attention to the body just by scanning. We can start with our feet and just bring our awareness to the experience of feet. What does it feel like to be aware of our feet? What does it feel like to be aware of our legs, of our calves and our lower leg, our ankle, calves, shin, our knees? What does it feel like to be aware of our thighs, our upper leg, our pelvis? We're just moving our attention. If there's any pain or discomfort in any part of the leg, that's fine. We're just allowing it to be. We're just putting our attention there. We're not trying to have it be any way. Just sensing it, just experiencing it. If it's hard to experience one part and to bring our attention to that, that's fine too. We can stay a little bit longer there. If it doesn't work, that's okay too. We're accepting everything. Our stomach, our lower back. And this is an area where we can get energy. We can feel energy more than we usually feel it in our legs or our feet, in the upper part of our body, in our stomach, a little bit higher, the solar plexus, the chest, the back. We often feel a lot of energy here. The shoulders and neck, arms, hands, fingers. Face, head, When we're very much caught in our thoughts, there's a lot of energy in our head. You know, a lot of our energy is focused in our head. And this is one of the reasons to do a body scan, is because we bring our attention down into the body too. And we're aware of not just the head, but other parts of the body. And our feelings usually come in our heart, our stomach, chest. This is where we feel a lot of emotion. Our attention's focused on there. And now be aware of where this body is in the room, in this space, where it's located in space. So in this way, we can look at the body from outside the body. Be aware of where it's located, the space around it. And that's kind of comforting, because this is a wider perspective. This body is in some space in this room. And now I'm aware of the body and also the room, also the space in the room. This is like a warm-up practice for true healing. It's like a stretching. We just want to be aware and not resist, aware of everything. As we're scanning our body, we may experience feelings. There may be feelings that we're experiencing in the body, sensations, feelings. We may be aware of thoughts. All of this is here. All of this is happening. So we're bringing awareness to it and not resisting it. We're accepting all of it, just as it is, not wishing it were any different than it is. It is. It is in this moment. So resisting it isn't helpful. Wishing it were different is not helpful. Simply allowing it to be what it is in this moment. Life is changing all the time. In every moment, everything is changing. When we resist it, we have this idea that it's not changing, and we kind of make this fantasy about it, and that makes it feel like it's staying. But it's actually changing all the time. So there is nothing really to fear. It's just life happening. And it is happening for your benefit. It is happening completely for your benefit. But you don't really know that until you experience it. You can't know that simply because I'm telling you this. That's just my experience. You need to experience it yourself. And when you do this true healing practice and experience this, you'll realize that the things that you think are, that you've been avoiding and resisting and that you think are the worst, are actually also for your benefit. And that means everything is. Everything is. But it takes some courage to do this, because we're bucking a trend of avoiding. We're bucking a trend of resisting. We're doing something that we've been conditioned all our life to do, and we're going against that for the first time. We're accepting and embracing something that we've been conditioned to avoid and resist in all these different ways that we have called healing. Escaping from this, getting away from it. So this is why this is a different satsang, because I'm going to ask you to experience a feeling like that, something that you've been avoiding. Now, we don't have to do this with the feeling of happiness or peace, because we already accept that, right? We have an experience of happiness or love. We totally accept that. There's no reason to try and accept it. We naturally do. It's because we're open to it that we feel that way. That's one of the secrets, is when we have this experience of great happiness, we're totally open to it. That's the happiness, the openness, the non-resistance is the happiness. The non-resistance is the love, is the peace. So now we're going to do this with something that we've resisted, the uncomfortable feelings that we've all experienced. Pain, heartache, grief, fear, anxiety, annoyance. Just a subtle feeling of not being complete. Suffering can come in many different aspects. It can be very subtle. So much that you'd say, oh, I'm not suffering at all, but you don't feel entirely complete. That's suffering. Suffering is just not being awake. So until we're awake, we have suffering all the time, really. Sometimes in such subtle ways that we're not aware of it. But now we're going to focus on something that we are aware of, something that has bothered us, something that does feel very uncomfortable in our body, a sensation that's very uncomfortable, that we really wish would go away, that we would do anything to not experience it, right? That's how we feel about suffering. We want to get rid of it as soon as we can. This is a natural way of the human species to do this. So doing the opposite of this and embracing it is quite radical, because our species is really, it's pursuing pleasure and avoiding pain. And now we're going to say, okay, I'm also going to not pursue pain, but I'm going to be open to it when it comes. And it will come, you know, we don't have to pursue it. It does arise, but we're going to now look and treat it as a friend. Hello, my friend, pain. I know you. I've experienced you before. I'm not going to resist you now. I'm going to listen to your truth, your message. What is this message that you have for me? What is this gift, this benefit that you have for me? Because in this package, it certainly doesn't feel like a gift. So I have to get beyond that and accept it anyway, to fully embrace this, to fully open to this experience. Whatever it is, it's happening now. It's arising in this moment. So I'm going to open to it because it's arising in this moment. I'm going to be enough space for it to accept it and embrace it and welcome it. And yes, it feels painful and uncomfortable, but I'm going to welcome that anyway, because that's the package that it comes in. That's the way it gets my attention. That's how important this message is. So what does it have to tell me? What is its gift? Because I don't know. The only way I can know is to listen, to embrace, to open to this. That's all I can do. I don't know. And if I think I do in a moment, I'm going to let that go. Because I really want to know. I don't want to know what my thoughts are or my insights. I want to know the truth. And in this way, we put truth above everything else. We put truth above our discomfort, above our fear, above our resistance, above our preferences, above I would prefer to be happy rather than depressed. I would prefer to feel love rather than fear. We're going to put truth above that and say, what does this have to teach me? What is the lesson of what's happening in this moment? What does this have to teach me? And as we open to this, when we open to this, a lot of things are going to happen. It can take time. Stick with it. Keep opening to it. You'll find that the resistance is where the pain is. The resistance to it is where the suffering is. The more we open to it, the less suffering there's going to be. Usually, suffering is located in some place in the body. We can feel it. It's usually somewhere from the stomach to the neck, somewhere in there. Sometimes in the heart, sometimes in the stomach, in the belly, sometimes the solar plexus. It can appear in other places too, but this is primarily where we're going to feel it. And often, as we keep looking, we're going to feel it more and more in the chest, in the heart area. That's going to open to us more. And we just embrace what this is. And the more we embrace it, the less suffering we feel, the less overwhelmed we feel by it, the more it's changing. But we don't do this because we want it to go away or change. We embrace it fully as it is. It's the only way to do it. And when we do that, it will change on its own. It will change and reveal to us. So pay attention, open, accept, embrace everything, even the most painful things. Fully accept them because they're here. That's all. That's the requirement for accepting that they're here. Everything that's here, fully open to and accept and embrace. This is true healing. And when we open to it fully without resisting, we notice the energy in it. Oh, there's a lot of energy, isn't there? There's a lot of energy in this. In some specific part in our body, maybe in our chest, in our heart area, there's a lot of energy. That's okay. Energy is all right. Energy is good. Take away the thoughts of good and bad. It's just what is. It's just what is. It's just energy. It doesn't have any. Whatever thoughts we add to it are just thoughts we've added to it. Let it show us what it is. We don't have to add thoughts to it. Preferences, ideas, labels. Because we're looking for something deeper than that. Truth is beyond words and thoughts and labels. And this uncomfortable feeling is also beyond thoughts and labels. It's something real. And we want to open to it so it can teach us what it is. It may not even come to us in a word or a thought. But many revelations will happen if we open to it. It will teach us a great deal about ourselves, about life, about truth. We never know what truth is, really, because it cannot be put into a thought. It's much deeper than that. And here is a doorway into it. A doorway that we've resisted all our life, but it's always been here for us. Does it make sense to avoid what's here, resist what's here, try and escape from it, repress it, put a Band-Aid over it, take a pill so it'll go away? Why? It's here. It has something for us. A great gift and message. It has truth. So we open to it, and what is it? What is it? We're not looking for happiness or bliss or anything. We just want to know truth. What is this message? This is another way of seeing, what am I? It's another way of asking that question. And we do it through this, because this is what's presented to us. Life is presenting what we need in every moment. If we're meditating and we're looking for bliss and all of a sudden we have a very uncomfortable feeling in our stomach, that's what life's presenting. Why should we turn that down and say, no, I ordered up bliss, not that? That's where we get into trouble, because life is giving us a gift and we're turning away from it as if we know better. We don't. We never do. In the awakened state, we understand that we never know better than life. And we fully accept that. Whatever gift life is bringing to us in the moment is the gift that we accept. With these little human brains, we don't know more than life. We never will. And that's wonderful, because we have this always giving to us. And in true healing, we're accepting it. We're opening to it. We're not ready maybe to say thank you yet, because it still might be painful. When we go through this practice to the end, then we're very, very grateful. But it's a process. It's a process. It has levels and waves of feelings. What is this? I don't know. What is this feeling? I don't know. I don't know anything. I'm open for it to show me. What is heartache? I don't know. But I want to. I'm open. Show me. What is fear? I don't know. But I'm open. Show me. Eventually we come to experiencing just energy in our body, just very intense energy. All emotions are energy. And when it shows us why, what is this? What is this? What's it showing me? Why now? What is the gift? What is this precious, important gift that I'm receiving from life in this moment? And we're used to projecting everything outside and thinking it's because somebody did this to me, or this happened, or I got cancer, or something from the outside came into me and did something to me. You let that go. I'm experiencing it, not the person that I'm blaming. This is my experience. This has come to me, for me. All that other stuff is just things happening outside, has nothing to do with truth. I'm experiencing this. Situations and people may have triggered it to help me so that I can experience it. But once the triggers happened, leave them alone. I've got the message, I've got the gift. Now I'm going to open the package. I'm not going to throw it in the trash or burn it or do something to get rid of it. I'm going to open it now. Like I've never done this before. But now I'm going to open it. See what's inside. What is this gift? What is this message? What is it here to show me? There's a very deep unraveling of layers that happens when we do this. This is deep inner looking. And we can use this suffering as a doorway to it. And one of the things that happens is the pain of it, the suffering of it starts being less and less as we do this. It doesn't increase, it becomes less, and it changes into different revelations about what it is. It has so many layers because any suffering that we feel is attached to all this other suffering that we've felt many, many times before in many different ways. All of it repressed, resisted, ignored, tried to push away. And now we're doing the opposite. We're opening the door. We're stopping resisting and saying, okay, I'm not going to resist anymore. I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen to what you have, life, to give me. I'm going to listen to truth. I'm not going to turn away. And this is what takes courage, to go against everything we've been taught and do the exact opposite of everything we've ever done, to open to life as it is, without asking it to be the way we want it to be, the way we think it should be, the way we believe it should be. These are just thoughts and beliefs. They're not life. They're not truth. Truth comes to us in every moment. And here it is, in this moment, as whatever this feeling is. We could put our attention anywhere in this moment. There's many things that are not suffering at all in this moment. But now the suffering is teaching us, so we're keeping our attention here to do this practice, to do this true healing. You notice all the shifting and changing that's happening, these different revelations that come up, the experience of this suffering feeling as energy when we let go of the name, heartbreak, depression, fear. We don't have to call it that. Those are just labels and names. They're not truth. So as we let go of that, it reveals more of what it is, why it's here, what it has to teach us, where it comes from. It's very important to know where it comes from. And we know by listening, by opening. It shows us where it comes from. This is its highest gift, its highest message. And the freedom from suffering. Truth is the freedom from suffering. And the doorway to this freedom is suffering. Strangely enough, it's the only doorway to freedom from suffering is suffering. This is true healing.